Review the Light. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Thrunite TN36. But really quick before we do, if you haven't yet, go ahead and click this link right up here in the corner to subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you keep up to date with the latest review videos. This one right up here to follow me on Facebook. I post some fun pictures and little short clips and things like that. And then if after the review, if there's any more details about the light that you want, go ahead and click the link to the full review. I'm putting that in the description down here. That link will, like I said, take you to the full review. It will show you things like beam shots, runtime graphs, all that sort of fun thing, spectral analysis. So if there's any details about the light that you have questions about after the review, be sure to check that out. The Thrunite TN36 claims 6,510 lumens. Now it looks like they sent me the neutral white version. One thing that Thrunite does that I really like is they have neutral white versions of just about every one of their models, it seems like. So even these really huge ones, not very many companies offer neutral versions of very many of their lights. So I'm happy to see that. And it looks like they sent me one of the neutral ones. I'll check that out in the spectral analysis. Now that doesn't mean it probably won't get up to the full 6,510 lumens that the cool white version would get to, but the tint is going to be a little bit nicer. So we'll just we'll check that out. It comes with the user manual here, and it comes in the kind of the standard Thrunite cardboard box. Pretty simple. In this little padded part, you can see I've got some spare O-rings and a spare little rubber switch cover, and it comes in the holster. Holster is pretty standard. You got this hook here. Either you can go with a Velcro loop or a permanently attached loop for attaching your holster to whatever you want, and Velcro closure of the flap. Okay. So here's the TN36. You can see it's kind of a chunk of a light. It's very compact, but it's still large, and that's because it's got a lot going on. It runs off of 4 18650 batteries, and it also uses 3 of the new Cree MKR emitters. Now this is an emitter I'm not familiar with. This is going to be my first light to use one, so I'm excited to see how they perform. You can tell that each of them is a quad dye emitter, so each of these emitters actually has 4 emitting surfaces in there. You can see so a total of 12 emitting surfaces on this light. So this is going to be pretty intense. 6,000 lumens is a lot of output. It's going to be one of the highest output lights that I've reviewed. You can see that each one of these emitters kind of has their own portion of a reflector, and each one of those reflector portions, if I can get you a good angle on them, you can tell it's fairly shallow, fairly small, and they each only get about maybe like 2/3 of a reflector approximately. So mostly this is going to be a light oriented towards floodiness, not really designed to throw super far, but just put out a lot of light in a big floody beam pattern to light up the whole area close to you. So you can see each of these little reflectors has a good texture on it, kind of like an orange peel texture. That helps smooth out the beam so there's no rings or artifacts or anything like that. And also something that Thrunite did with this light, you can see around the reflector, and we've got sort of this, like, it looks like brushed aluminum or something like that. This looks really nice under the glass and around the reflector. I'm not sure if that's showing up on the camera as nice as it looks in real life, but it just looks really stylish. This is a good looking light. So we've got the stainless steel bezel here. Now it's actually kind of interesting. The stainless steel bezel usually protrudes beyond the aluminum, the anodized aluminum of the light's body. That's hard to say, but on this one, it actually is kind of recessed into it a little bit. So that's just an interesting design feature that I haven't seen before. Usually they have the stainless steel going out further to kind of protect the body of the light more, but this is they've chose to recess it inside there. So here you can see the head. We've got several heat dissipation fins here. Those increase the surface area, help heat get away from the head of the light and away from the emitters out into the air. That's crucial for a light that has this high of an output. Here you can see the switch. There's no tail switch, there's just a side switch, so it's completely controlled by this switch right here. You can see it's set flat with the body, with the head of the light, so if it's just in your pocket or something, or all by itself in a bag, it's very unlikely that this will get activated by accident. However, if it's in a bag with other like small or pointy or sharp objects or that sort of thing, then something could poke into that and turn it on. So in that case, you would want to have the take the batteries out if you're going to be storing it like that for a while, so it doesn't get turned on by accident. This is a lot of power to have turned on by accident. So the body of the light, you can see it's got kind of a standard diamond knurling pattern here. We got the model name and the brand name there, and on the back just a flat tail section like you saw before. So it does a nice stable tail stand, and yeah, I can do that for a long time without getting knocked over. We'll open it up. It takes a good amount of force to open. This is a in several turns. It's a very sturdy feel to it. Once I open it up, you can see those threads. If my camera will focus on them, there we go. They appear to be, if I can get a good look, they seem like they're kind of a little bit thin, thinner than some other of Thrunite's lights that I've seen, but they're square cut, they're anodized, they're slightly lubricated, they're going to hold up for quite a while. This is well-made threads there. That's good to see. Inside the head, you can see this is the portion where the battery carrier makes contact. A little springy in there. The battery carrier itself, this is what holds the batteries inside the light. The battery carrier can be inserted in either direction. It's the same on both sides. And you can tell if you look down inside there, there's not really anything in there. This is just to hold the battery carrier. There's no electrical connection that goes through the body. So the battery carrier can be inserted in either direction. That doesn't matter. However, the batteries within the battery carrier have to be inserted correctly. So it is marked with positive and negative sign, or with, just with the positive signs, I guess, and the negative terminal goes on the spring, just like convention. And because the positive terminal extends a little bit out, it looks like it should be able to accept flat top 18650 cells without a problem. I have some button top ones which are going to be a little bit longer. They are a pretty tight fit, but not too difficult to slip them in there. So there you go. That's how that works. So it takes 4 of these 18650 batteries. Slides right together. Several turns to close it. Like I said, it takes a lot of force. So now that's together, it's pretty solid. So we'll take a look at the user interface. So the first thing that you can do is just turn the light on and off using the side switch. It's all controlled by the side switch because it doesn't have anything on the no-rear switch. So when you can see when the light's turned on, this little blue light underneath the switch turns on as well. Just lets you know that it's operating correctly and everything. It's kind of a nice feature. It looks pretty. But the main point of this light is this light will turn from blue to red when the battery voltage gets low and it's time to replace or recharge your batteries. Now, I don't know exactly what voltage that is yet. I haven't tested it. I'll try and figure that out and put that in the full review at what voltage it turns from blue to red. But that's a nice feature to have. It's just pretty simple, but a good touch. So it has mode memory, so whatever mode you use last, it turns back on in that mode. You can see it's pretty floody. I'm not seeing any sort of a hotspot or anything here. We'll crank it up a little bit and see how it does. Next, so when it's on, you hold down on the switch to rotate through low, medium, and high. So you can see here we've got low, medium, and high. It's just rotating through those because I'm holding down on the switch, and whenever I let go, it'll stay there. So here's the high mode. And like I said, there's not really much of a hot spot. It's just a lot of flood. And if I leave it in high, it comes back on in high. If I leave it in medium, turn it off, turn it back on, it comes back on in medium. And same for low mode. So those are the 3 regular modes. Now you also have access to a Firefly mode, which when the light's off, you just hold down on it for about 1.5 seconds or so, and it comes on in Firefly mode. So there's that, and excuse me. the Firefly mode is only accessible from the off position. You saw it didn't go into Firefly when I was rotating through the 3 main modes. So if you want Firefly, you just have to have it off and then hold down and it'll turn on in the Firefly mode, and that's pretty dim. And we'll show you what that looks like outside also. And then the other mode that it has is a turbo mode. So at any point, whether it's on or off, if you double click, it goes into turbo. So here's the turbo mode right here. So say if I have it off, I can double click and go to turbo, or if I have it on, I'm using low mode right now, I can double click and go to turbo. So that's nice to have. And then once it's in the turbo mode, if you double click again, it goes into strobe. So whether it's off or on, 2 clicks takes you to turbo, and 4 takes you to strobe. So that's a nice feature. And though the Firefly, the turbo, and the strobe are not included in the mode memory, the low, medium, and the high are. So that's the user interface of the Thrunite TN36. If you stick around for just a second, we will take it outside and give it a shot in the dark. All right, welcome back. We're here in the backyard with the Thrunite TN36. We're going to see how this beast does back here. So we go ahead and fire it up. Comes on in the last mode that I used. Looks like the low mode. So you can see it's got a very warm tint here. The screen looks like it's showing it a little bit more greenish than I see in my eyes. To me, it's just a pretty good yellowish, whitish tint. So there's that, and then as you can see, there's a little blue light under the button there that's on whenever the light's on in any of the regular modes. And then as I hold down on the button for a second, here we are up in the medium mode. This tint looks a lot more true, very pure white with just a little bit of a warmish tint. So there's that. One more time. Oh, looks like we were not where I thought. So there's the low, the medium, and here's the high. Here we go. Here's the high mode. So obviously I'm lighting up everything. It's definitely a very floody beam. There is kind of a hot spot region to it, but for the most part, it's just a smooth transition out into the flood, which is pretty wide all the way way out here. You can see it's a very wide beam, very floody, very good even spread. I really like the way it looks. It's like you can tell, it's definitely brighter in the middle, but by the time you start looking at things further away, that really evens things out. So looks great, and you can see that tree up there, the one way back there behind the garage. Obviously this isn't meant to be a thrower. A lot of floodlight. This really lights up the whole area that you're looking at. It's got nearly 180 degrees. Here I'm holding it 90 degrees to the camera. You can see very, very wide spill pattern. It's great for the flood. So that's the 3 regular modes. I'll move through those again. 1, 2, and 3, the low, medium, and the high. To get to the lowest mode, I'm holding down on the button for a second to turn it on, and you can see, you can't really see anything over there. I can kind of make it out with my eyes on the screen. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but it is on in the lowest mode. It's very dim here. You can see on my hand up close, it is on. And then if I turn it off and back on, I go to whatever mode I used last. And then there is the turbo mode, which is incredibly bright. It's actually just a little bit uncomfortable for me to look at the garage right now with how much light is reflecting off of it. Obviously, with it being white, that makes a difference, but this is just a ridiculous amount of light here. You can see a whole bunch of things anywhere close to you. Again, there's the spill range of it. So it's got, like I said before, it has the 5 output modes, but only the 3 are going to be regularly accessible by holding down on the button. It just cycles through those 3. To get to the lowest, you have to hold down from off, and then it's on the lowest, and to get to the highest, you double click from off. There's the highest mode, and then to do the strobe function when you're in the highest mode, you double click again, and then you get the strobe. So if you're at the highest mode, all you have to do is a double click to get to the strobe, but if you have it off or on another mode, you have to do essentially 4 clicks, like that. So that's the function of the TN36 by Thrunite. If you liked the video, be sure to click right up here to subscribe to my channel. Keep up to date with the latest reviews. Follow me on Facebook up here, and check out the full review that I will put in the link in the description. Thanks, and have a great night.